Ah, the holiday season, a time filled with joy and family. There's nothing more beautiful than that. Now, most people tend to spend the season with the people they love. Moms and dads, brothers and sisters, grandpas and grandmas. Me, on the other hand, enjoy spending my time with a red thing, a dead console, and a scary man on a PS3 controller. I never said the people I was spending my time with were normal.
So what are you going to talk about?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? It seems like every day you have something to talk about. So, what are you going to talk about now?
Actually, I was just thinking of relaxing and watching some TV, if that's fine with you guys. When it comes to the entertainment industry, there's no bigger stinker than that of video games. You see, movies, TV shows, and literature are generally praised with such high regards, and video games are considered more of an afterthought than anything. And while you get millions of people who absolutely adore video games, most people generally say things like, "Wow, this looks cool, but I think I'm gonna watch Avengers Endgame for the 1,000th time." But it's not like people don't try with video games. Just like books and comics, video games get adapted into films, and that's a whole nother story. It's common knowledge at this point that video games don't have the best track record of getting good films. I mean, sure, sometimes you get pretty decent films out of video games, but most of the times it's either a Street Fighter or Super Mario Bros. But one thing I find strange is that no one ever seems to talk about the TV shows based on video games, which is odd considering they've been around way longer than there have been video game movies. So, today I'm here to talk about whether or not these things are good. They're not that good. Nintendo, always known for making pretty good games. Now their games are generally considered some of the greatest games ever to be made. Yeah, you can't really say that about their TV shows. Of course, there's the infamous Super Mario Super Show. Now this show is special because it mixes live action segments with animated segments. So the first segment of the show would usually be a live action segment, focusing on the Mario Bros solving a situation, and there would be a celebrity guest somewhere there. And you know what? These segments aren't that bad. Some of the jokes are pretty funny, and of course seeing the Mario Bros in live action is always cool. This is then followed by an animated portion, which is usually the main segment of an episode. I gotta commend the show for being pretty faithful to the video games, considering the only source material at the time was the original game and Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. I mean, most of the background music is taken straight from the games, Bowser is the main enemy, and they even found a way to incorporate Mario's power-ups. And this show just loves to remind you that Mario is Italian, what with the pizza jokes and spaghetti references. And yeah, I get it, nowadays Mario makes those jokes, but this came out in the 80s, and did any gamer back then really care if Mario was Italian or not? Still, I think this is a pretty decent show overall. I mean, it was successful enough to get 2 sequel shows, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, obviously being based off Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super Mario World, being based off Super Mario World. Also, there was another show airing alongside the Super Mario Bros. Show, The Legend of Zelda cartoon. And guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? What? It wasn't that good. No! But of course, we can't talk about Nintendo shows without mentioning their most infamous product yet. The Donkey Kong Country Show, with guess who? Donkey Kong! And his country. So let's talk about the most obvious issue of the show, the animation. So the show goes for a sort of 3D animation look, I guess being reminiscent of the game's pre-rendered graphics, but it comes off here as just plain old ugly. I mean, no person who was working on the show could have looked at this and said, we're good to go. Everything coupled together with the obnoxious voice acting and the character's movement, it just makes me want to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog? Ah yes, the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons. They actually favor a lot better than Nintendo's TV shows. It's weird, you can't really say that about the games, but the TV shows favored a lot better. So the Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday morning show is generally considered the best Sonic show. At heart, it's just a regular kids show, although people praise it for its darker tone and being able to adapt Sonic the Hedgehog without losing what made him Sonic the Hedgehog. And out of all the shows, I'm most nostalgic towards the Saturday morning show. I can see it's not the greatest thing ever made, but I still found it enjoyable to this day. And it's gotten a pretty big following over the years, even continuing in the form of a comic book. And you know what? Some of the Sonic shows that came out after the Saturday morning show weren't that bad. Sonic Underground may have been a big piece of trash, but Sonic X and Sonic Boom are quite decent shows to watch. And speaking of Sonic X... That's right, video games have been adapted into anime too, and they're generally considered the best when it comes to video game TV shows. Of course, you have more recent shows like the Castlevania anime that's received massive acclaim, but we can't talk about video game animes without mentioning Pokemon. Pokemon was, and still is, one of the most popular things out there, and the anime is no exception. Now, a little bit, the show does get repetitive, considering each season is about Ash trying to be the best Pokemon trainer out there, but each season also brings a new batch of Pokemon, so the show never gets boring. And besides Pokemon, we also have Kirby right back at you. Now, this show has more of a cult following than anything, but it still managed to stay on for 100 episodes, which is pretty impressive for the type of show that it is. Essentially, the show is just Kirby getting into a whole bunch of shenanigans with King Dedede and Meta Knight. He eats a lot of food, has his copy abilities, the Kirby stuff you would expect, and while that sounds simple, the show's mainly trying to be charming and just fun to watch, just like the games are. And easily the coolest anime out of the bunch is F-Zero. There's nothing really great about F-Zero the anime, it's just really cool seeing these crazy designed characters driving around with really detailed animation. So it seems as though video games translate the best when they're in the form of an anime. Now, I'm not saying anime is the superior form of video game television, it just seems as though now, anime just gets video games. But hey, with the path that video games have been going through recently, it seems that the future of video game TV shows and movies is brighter than it ever has been before. And I'm not saying that every single TV show and movie that comes out that's based on a video game is going to be a hit, but now, more than ever, people are finally able to understand video games, and I feel like video game in the main media has just started to uprise, and I can't wait to see where it heads down the road. I underestimated the video game TV shows. A lot of them actually weren't that bad. I can definitely see the potential with these things, and I can't wait to see what happens next with them overall. But anyways, Merry Holidays and a Happy New Whatever year. Now if you don't mind me, I'm gonna watch Avengers Endgame for the 1000th time.